What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode brought to you by Backyard Zombie. And in this episode of Backyard Zombie, I am going to be building a prop completely from scratch. I'm going to be doing another toy box build where I'm just going to take a bunch of trash and I'm going to recycle and make it something cool.
Excuse me, Joshua, it's me, the part of you that truly hates you and thinks you are terrible trash, but just in case people have forgotten, what exactly is a toy box build?
That is a good question. So if you missed my last toy box video, I actually made a toy box build for another prop where I took a bunch of trash and stuff I've collected, stuff that has like really cool features, or I just didn't feel like recycling, or stuff that I looked at and said, that would be really cool to incorporate into a project. And as a prop master, I'm always looking for ways to cut costs, cut corners. So sometimes recycling old plastic, metal, and just putting it in a box, and just in that box, do not hoard props and stuff like I do or anyone else in the game. Look at Adam Savage in his cave. You accumulate stuff, and eventually you can use that for a project. So in this case, I'm imagining that I am a professional prop master. I know, so funny. And that I've been given a task to create a prop for like a sci-fi / horror movie. And I'm going to take a bunch of trash and incorporate all into a prop. The only really challenge that I'm kind of giving myself is, painting it correctly, adding a secondary layer of details, adding weathering, and just having a lot of fun. So I'm really hoping that I can do that for this prop, and I'm really excited for what I come up with. I have no real goal in mind. I'm gonna look at a bunch of stuff, see how it fits together like a Lego piece, and just see what I can create. So this is a complete from scratch toy box build. So let's go into my toy box, find some stuff, and let's get to building. Voiceover time. So I went into my toy box and I got a bunch of stuff. But here's my base. This is an old Ghostbusters toy that I got at a yard sale that was already very damaged. And I found this piece of PVC pipe, and oh my god, they fit together perfectly. This is the base of what I'm doing. So I broke out my notebook and I started just drawing, just putting down some ideas. And I'm really excited to use some Evil Ted molds, that PVC pipe, electric tape, make it all uniform, make it all cool, add antennas. It's going to be awesome. So I'm just going to start looking at some stuff. So there's a big kind of like cap, and then I didn't end up using that straw. I did end up using that syrup thing. I like those straws. I have a bunch of them, and they make cool exhaust pipes. I didn't end up using that either. Oh, so cool. I want to use that for something. I just can't figure it out. I didn't end up using any of this really, but I did end up using this cool Power Rangers, I think it's a Burger King toy, and I just really liked the look of it, and I knew I'd be able to incorporate it into the prop. And then, yeah, so this is my base, and I have no idea what this 45.9 means, but it's there, and I think with some paint, this thing is going to look super cool. So I'm going to get rid of that clip and that piece, and I'm just going to, it took a little bit, but I Dremeled it off, and Dremeled off the back so I can, solidify stuff there. And then this Evil Ted, I'm going to drill into it, give it a pilot hole. All of my Ryobi tools. So there's the pilot hole, and so with this screw, I'll be able to, after I hot glue the handle, I'll be able to screw that piece of pipe in, and it keeps it all uniform, and it keeps it all structured together. And thank God that the piece and the pipe were the same diameter, which works out. And then I did something similar. I put a little small hole into this so I could put this screw into the prop, and then this thing would have something to latch onto when I glued it in place, so it keeps it all uniform. And yeah, so we started hot gluing stuff, and I'm liking it so far, but it just needs more. It needs more pizzazz. I'm gonna keep adding those details, and then that screen, we're gonna do something with it too. And then I eventually got the Power Ranger thing on. Used that's actually an old Evil Dead chainsaw piece that I had lying around, and I'm thinking right now that this is starting to come together, but again, it needs more. Just needs a little more functionality, some kind of purpose. And then I started to put a base that's like a straw, and that's the base of the antenna later for the antenna to have something structurally inside of it. And we're still going. I'm still playing around. I'm still trying to figure this thing out. And then added more l'accoutrement, some Evil Ted molds, some other pieces, and we're still going. And then I went into my MISC model box, and I found this cool antenna, and I thought it looked really cool, and that paintbrush worked out. And now it's time for paint. paint primer with the oregano from the Fallout prop, and then I put a base of this camo on, and it kind of like mats it out a little bit. And this is the prop so far. I got a couple of paint flubs, but we'll use some rub and buff to cover all that stuff, and then we'll also just do some dry brushing of rub and buff to make it look more like it's metal. So let's start busting into that. And rub and buff, rub and buff. Ooh, I love rub and buff, rub and buff. And that, rub and buff helps hide your mistakes. It also makes hot glue look like welded metal, which is one of my favorite things to do with hot glue and rub and buff. Makes it look like welded metal, especially with a black wash. And this thing is already starting to look so much cooler. When it's all uniform in that color, it looks so much cooler. I'm really excited. But I'm going to break out some Moby Sign Code decals just to add some more pizzazz. And I love these like Activate, and there's an Intensify logo and this bar. And these really help. Like if you wanted to say this is a Ghostbuster prop, you could, because there are Ghostbusters like inspired decals. But I'm thinking this is more like a sci-fi prop. So I didn't put any like big major Ghostbusters decals on it, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with that screen. And the dry brushing makes this prop look so much cooler. And these decals make this look lived in, very lived in. And some of these decals don't make the final cut, but this is me just trying to map it out. And I did put the electrical tape on the handle, and it looks really cool. Yeah. And now I've started doing my favorite part of this build, which is adding the wire, and I'm just drilling into random places, but also using holes that were already there to kind of like, that's where the wire fed through. Using these existing buttons, and then using anything I had lying around, some old tubing, an old headphone jack, and then on the top I used this old like speaker that was from another dollar store headset. I found that weird like little dome piece, and yeah, I love the secondary details, and then that decal was added, and I knew it's gonna take the black paint well when I do this black wash, and I'm loving how this thing is looking. Loving how it's looking. And it's already giving me so much inspiration, like what it is, what it does. Then we get out the black paint and we start. This is just my favorite part, where you just take a bunch of black paint, cover it in the crevices, and then just gently wipe it off with some shop towel. This makes this prop look lived in. It makes it look grungy, makes it look old, and I love it. This thing looks kind of like it's like a military item of some sort. Like this is like off the books, off the record kind of military item, and the black paint just sinks into every crevice, makes it look, also gives it like an oil look. And you just go in and you can take off as much as you want, put on as much as you want, keep that. I just go in all the cracks and crevices and add anything I think this prop might have been lying around for a little while. I even go put some black in that dome too. And this looks so much cooler. So satisfying. So satisfying. And then I went into Photoshop and I used Typorama eraser, and I made these decals. This was just a test fit. I don't have a color printer at home, and I'm going to use this like plastic to make the screen, and this will be able to, you can take it on and off, but the test fit was great, so I went to my local library and I printed out a couple in color. And these are just screens. The second one I didn't make, the first and the third I made, that one I didn't make, but these two are my favorites, and I was testing these out in the light just to see how they would look. So that's the ghost scanner function. Here's the nuclear power scanner. And these are just to give examples of what this prop could do. Here's a clear subject, and here's an infected subject. These are awesome. So there you have it, folks. That is how I made my really cool sci-fi scanner with just some toys from the toy box, and I had a really good time making this prop. This was such a cool prop to make. I really love how the paint job came out. I love how the aging came out, and it's just something really cool to look at, and it makes me smile. But I can totally see this being in like a movie as like a quick throwaway pop. Like it's a scanner. Like I can see that you are infected, and there are other screens that I can put in this, and it does the job done. The only drawback on it is that I think I should have cut this out and installed a light. If I ever revisit this project, I'll do another video where I will actually drill out this thing, put a light source in it, so any like picture I put in the back will be able to light. And I think I could easily take this apart and wire up like an LED with a switch on it, and the potentials are endless for this prop, and it's only in stage 1, and I made it from trash, so I had a good time making it. What do you think?
I mean, I guess it's pretty cool, but Create Sci-Fi does the same thing in, like, all of his videos, so you're really not that special, but yeah, that scanner is pretty neat.
Well, I guess I'll take what I can get. And yeah, I was very inspired by videos that I've been watching from Create Sci-Fi. So Anthony, thank you so much for inspiring me every day. You're one of my favorite YouTubers. Look, I even have your hat, even though it doesn't fit my ginormous head, but it's okay. I wanted to support your channel, so thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you for inspiring me, and I hope you guys at home enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.